In this week's video, we're building a walnut end-grain serving and cutting board using project lumber from Osborne. This build is easy to complete and great for beginners and professionals. Stay tuned for a full tutorial. To get started with this build, we need to mill our 5/4 walnut lumber to size so we can begin our glue ups. I chose to cut a few shorter sections out of my boards as we will be ripping them down on the table saw. However, you can use longer sections if you have the clamping space for it. Once our boards are cut to length, we can bring them over to our benchtop planer and plane them slightly thicker than 1 inch. It's important to note that the thickness you plane your boards to will determine the look on the top of your cutting board. Planing your boards to 1 inch thick will mean that the end grain shown on the top of your cutting board will also be 1 inch thick, so keep that in mind depending on the goals for your project. Next, I'm ripping the boards to a few different widths so that the end grain pattern alternates once glued up. For each panel, I'll be ripping 2 boards at 3 inches wide and 2 boards at 2 inches wide with an additional 1 inch board that I'll add to the end of each panel. During the glue up, I'll alternate the direction of these boards, which will add a repeating pattern to the grain. Before gluing these panels up, it's important to lay the boards out and make sure that each piece is square before moving on. There will be 2 glue ups for this project, so this first one is very important to make sure that everything is square and flush once glued up. Next, we can set the boards on top of the clamps, making sure to keep them in the same location as before. For each panel, the boards will alternate 2 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches, and 1 inch on the end. To glue these boards together, we need to use a food-safe wood glue since this will be used for indirect food contact. Before moving forward, verify with the manufacturer of your wood glue that the product is safe for this application. Once the glue is applied, tighten the clamps and add an additional wood clamp over the top to prevent warping. Once the panels are dry, I'll bring them down to their final thickness of 1 inch and get ready for the next glue up. I'm removing a small amount of material during this process. I'm just trying to get rid of the glue squeeze out and any uneven seams. Next, I'll cut a square edge on one end of each panel and then rip them down using a table saw. I'm making these cuts at 2.5 inches each, which will be the final thickness of the cutting board after the next glue up. I'm going for a final thickness of 20 inches on this board, so with each of these pieces being 1 inch thick, I need enough material for 20 cuts. Now that all the pieces are cut, we can begin working on the final glue up for this project. As I mentioned, the end grain will have an alternating pattern on the top side of the board, so to do this I need to alternate the direction of each board. An easy way to do this is to take note of which end the 1 inch board is on and flip that after every board. This method will allow you to easily customize the size of your project while maintaining the same process for most applications. Next, we can place the boards on top of our clamps, making sure to keep them in the same location. Then we can add a generous amount of wood glue to each board and spread it using a foam brush or roller. Once again, you will need to use a food-safe wood glue during this process, making sure to work fast as the glue dries. Once the glue is applied to each board, tighten the clamps and make sure there is proper squeeze out at each seam. Once again, it's important to add a clamp to the top side to make sure the boards don't warp as they dry. Once the glue is dry, we can remove as much squeeze out as possible and very carefully plane the board to remove any uneven seams. Planing end grain wood is a little more difficult and prone to tear out, so this process requires patience and attention. If planing is needed, make very shallow passes, no more than 1/32 of an inch, until your final thickness is met. Making deeper passes can result in tear out, jumping, and burning on the wood, which can damage your equipment. Once the board is surfaced, we can rip it to its final width of 11 inches on the table saw, making a very careful pass and using push sticks if needed. Now that our board is at its final dimension, I want to add a 1/4 inch round over on each edge to give it a softer look. This is your time to add any details to your board that you want, such as juice grooves, handles, and more. Next, I'll sand the entire block using 150 grit sandpaper. This is just the initial sanding of this block. We will be bringing the top surface to 220 grit once finished. The next step for this project is to add a set of the squat round bun foot from Osborne to give it an elevated look. This step is optional, however it is recommended to use some kind of foot on your board to keep moisture from building underneath and prevent sliding during use. To install these feet, we'll be using threaded inserts and a hanger bolt for attachment. I'll first place the feet in the proper location on the board, then create a mark for the inserts. I choose to install my inserts 1 3/4 of an inch from each edge based on the size of these furniture feet. This may change depending on the feet or risers that you use for your project. Next, I'll pre-drill a small pilot hole using a drill bit and a hand drill before moving to my drill press. We're using the 1/2 inch threaded insert from Osborne Part 815 on our website. These have a 1/2 inch diameter, however since this is walnut, I want to use a slightly larger drill bit to prevent splitting when installing. If you can find a 17/32 drill bit for this process, it is a good option for more dense hardwoods. Next, we can install the threaded inserts by hand using an Allen key, making sure not to over tighten to avoid splitting the wood. Once the inserts are installed, we need to install the hanger bolts into the furniture feet. We're using the 2-inch hanger bolt Part 925 on our website, which has a 5/16 diameter. You can pre-drill a 5/16 hole into the top of the bund foot using the center marks created by the lathes. When drilling, add a piece of tape to ensure you don't go deeper than the screw dowel side of the bolt. To insert the bolt into the furniture foot, you can use a machine screw nut and a 1/2 inch wrench to tighten. Once these are tightened against each other, it allows you to use the wrench and screw the bolt down into the furniture foot as far as needed. Once the hanger bolts are installed, you can screw the bund foot into the threaded insert until tight. If your hanger bolt was installed slightly crooked, keep tightening against the board until it straightens up. Next, we'll sand the top to 220 grit for a nice smooth finish. When finishing a cutting board or serving tray, it's important to use a food-safe finish. For this board, we're using a dedicated cutting board oil to hydrate and protect the wood while avoiding any harsh chemicals. Since this is an end-grain board, it will soak up a lot of the finish, so it may take several coats for full coverage. Continue to flood the surface of the board until the finish begins to remain on top. For larger boards over 1.5 inches, this may take 3 to 4 coats for proper protection. It's important to note that finishes like mineral oil do require regular maintenance as they can dry out with use. You can keep a bottle of this handy in your kitchen to protect your board for years to come. Once the finish is applied, we can let it dry and take a closer look. Thank you for joining me for this week's video. If you're interested in any of the products that we used in this build, be sure to check out the links below. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment, and we'll see you next time in the Builder Studio.